Michelle was the biggest skeptic you'll ever meet. And I look up and I said, give me a sign. And that fan, twice. And my girlfriend, who was sitting there, she flipped out at first and she said, no, Susie, the windows are open. Maybe it was a breeze. I said, Michelle, this is an electric fan. You can't spin this fan. So I stood up and I was walking towards the restroom and I just turned around. I faced the fan and I said, okay, give us a sign. It did it again. The two of us lost it.
Welcome to Signs from the Other Side with Fern Ronay. I'm your host, Fern Ronay, and this is the place to share stories of signs and messages received from the other side. Real quick before we get started, if you enjoy reading about signs and if you enjoy fiction like Bridget Jones and Sex and the City, you might enjoy my books, Better in the Morning and Better Believe It. And if you like this podcast, please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe in Apple Podcasts and tell a friend too. Thank you so much for listening, and on to the show. Elizabeth Bryan-Jacobs, artist, author, and art therapist, helps participants of her Awakenings Dreamwork program connect with their loved ones on the other side through dreams, dream visits, and nurturing a spiritual relationship with them. Dr. Susie, a practicing physician for many Hollywood patients and professor to UCLA medical students, is also an artist and has had a lifetime of experiences with such things as crazy synchronicities and channeling messages from the deceased. And now she's currently exploring how these wildly different aspects of her life may actually come together. And they, Elizabeth and Dr. Susie, are together on this episode because they are friends and they have had some adventures. And I'm about to say a sentence in this episode that I don't know has ever been stated in the history of podcasting. Maybe it has. I hope it has. But it is you met at the Golden Door Spa and transported to another dimension together. I don't know if that's ever been said. I hope it has because it sounds wonderful and we will talk about it. So everyone listening, please stay tuned because we are going to talk about some wild and wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things. So let's let Elizabeth chime us in for a wonderful experience together.
Yes. So we chime in to kind of let everyone here and out there in Fern's wonderful world know we are entering a sacred space. And I'll chime in for the three of us. It is our joint intention to share information and experiences that inspire and let all of you out there know that we all are capable of these gifts and connecting with our loved ones on the other side. Namaste.
Namaste.
Hey.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
So, Susie, you are a doctor. Did you grow up in LA?
No, Northern California, actually.
Oh, okay. How did you end up down here?
I did my residency training at Cedars-Sinai.
Oh, nice. So you ended up wanting to
and
stay.
met my husband.
Oh, that'll do it.
Who was from Brooklyn, and he thinks he died and went to heaven here in Los Angeles.
Nice. Yes, I'm from the East Coast, and so when we got to Southern California, I was like, do people know about this? Like, it's amazing. It's warm all the time. It's just, it's a great place. But as a child, did you know you wanted to be a doctor?
It was pretty early on. My dad was an orthopedic surgeon, and he just had an infectious passion for medicine. So interestingly, my brother and I both went into medicine. But I remember taking a medical careers exploratory thing in high school and before that.
Wow, your parents really hit the lottery with two doctors.
And she's married to a doctor.
Oh, gosh, what bragging rights. How nice.
And my daughter's a doctor, and her husband's a doctor.
So your daughter felt, but she probably saw that you liked it.
Well, she did. She just never had enough confidence. And then one time, it's interesting, she had a dream. She woke up from a dream when we were on vacation, and she said, Mom, I dreamt that I want to be a doctor like you.
How old was she?
Wow.
She must have been in high school, like early high school. she was liking everything around medicine, and she didn't have the confidence. But I just remembered
Wow.
that. Thanks
Yes,
for
So
pulling that up.
interesting.
Of course. It's yeah, it's nice that you just remembered it on this episode. It's so
Yes,
fitting.
it's beautiful.
Perfect. I want to first get to how you both met at the Golden Door Spa. Were you there for a retreat or you were just there at the spa?
So I was teaching. I was teaching an entire week. Okay, so there was an art class, and I had just launched a book and Soul Models book. And so I was teaching and speaking, and there were workshops going on every single day. And of course, we love labyrinths, right? And this was even way before I was doing dream work. So Susie and I had some kind of instant connection. At the time, I was reading runes. Runes are an ancient Nordic alphabet, okay? And they are kind of a meditative tool, but they're like a different version of tarot. I'll just say it like that. But it's all over the world. There are these things called ancient rune stones mostly in Scandinavia, but they're thousands of years old, and it's a very ancient alphabet. And I learned how to read runes, and I was doing rune readings. So I read Susie's runes, and we just had this, I don't know, awakening together. We ended up out on the labyrinth with another guest at the door. Susie was a guest. And I feel like the minute we got on the labyrinth, like the trees, the bark started to move, and it was almost like the labyrinth was moving us somewhere. Susie, would you say that?
It was such an altered state. It was heightened awareness, almost psychedelic. We just went with it. But I remember the patterns in the bark, and we were all experiencing the same phenomenon at the
Yes.
same time.
And acknowledging it and going, okay, we're kind of in this. Let's just see where it takes us.
Yeah.
I mean, it
To
was
set
really
the stage
intense.
for people listening, so Labyrinth would be like a path on the grounds of the Golden Door Spa. And the
Right.
two of you were like, let's, go
Walk the labyrinth.
And it wasn't just the two of you, it was other people.
One other person, one other
Okay.
woman.
And
so,
you hadn't done any, I haven't done any
No.
drugs. But you made me
No.
laugh the first time
Yeah.
we ever chatted, Elizabeth. You're like, friend, I've done a lot of drugs in my
I was, but not
like, I had
then.
a wild-
But
yeah,
it's
it's not
true.
then, yes.
No. And a labyrinth, for more context, is very ancient, sacred architecture. And so, they're very intentionally built. They can be also found all over the world. And this in
This
particular,
is a replica.
it's a replica of a 7-circuit labyrinth that is at the Chartres Cathedral in, where is it? In France.
France.
And monks actually walk under tunnels and walk the labyrinth before they go out to kind of serve the population. And then they rewalk the labyrinth to kind of purify, when they're going. So labyrinths are a thing. And they're very healing, and they're very, very meditative. And the Golden Door has an amazing one. And it's like, it's, you feel like you're in, like a Harry Potter world or something.
Yes. And do you think other people don't experience that when they walk through it? Like they probably are like, this is amazing, but do they?
Some do. Some
Yeah.
do. If you use it as a walking meditation, it'll be
Transformative, it sounds like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And do you think you were able to access it because you probably had been maybe meditating before or like going to that
No.
place before? No, okay. You're like just had your coffee and
I mean, I think it was something pulling Susie and me together. I think it was meant to kind of awaken whatever it was between us that didn't evolve for like 6 or 7 years after that.
Oh, wow.
It was
Yeah.
just an extraordinary
Yeah.
connection
Yeah.
that kind of inexplicable.
Yeah.
was.
Yes.
I was also connected to Elizabeth through art.
I had done an art class,
You had done
art
an
therapy
art
group.
and I did that art therapy group.
Okay,
with
before you
also.
did the labyrinth. Okay. So you had so you had connected. You hadn't
And the
just
rune
met
re-
and
and the
just
rune
did-
readings, right?
Yes. Okay. So you'd done art therapy, done the rune readings, and then to the labyrinth. And were you seeing odd shape, like things were like kind of coming to life, it sounds like.
I mean, the way I can describe it is like a waking dream. It was a very altered state where everything is so heightened. It's like it's a dream. And
Yeah, it's like you crank up the contrast, and
the
it's
sensory
like crystal,
experience.
crystal sharp.
It's like the drugs I used to do.
Me too.
I
Me
want to
too.
experience. I've never done the drugs. I have to do the labyrinth.
You have to do the labyrinth.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so then
But-
what a bond you must have formed after
Well,
that. Were you like, that
especially-
was nuts?
And we kept finding that it was some kind of chemistry between us, because when I walked the labyrinth alone, yes, it can be an insightful and very meditative experience, but there's something about the combination, and that's what we're learning, the combination of our energies.
Together.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
brings, 1 + 1 is more than 2.
Right.
Yes. Seems like you've maybe had past lives together too. There's something there. Yes.
Susie was pursuing her own artistic path. And so we were staying connected around that. And then we started doing the arts-based dream work together. And then like crazy SHIT started to happen in our sessions. We're like, whoa, like Susie, you have to tell the story of your nephew.
Sadly, my 33-year-old nephew, a year and a half ago, took his own life.
Oh, I'm
my
sorry.
brother's son. And
I'm sorry.
it was, obviously, I don't have to say how devastating it was. And my sister-in-law and my brother and his 2 remaining brothers, nobody could bring themselves to go to his apartment to clean it out. And I said I would do it. My sister-in-law told me, just take what you think is important. And I didn't know. I was talking to Elizabeth shortly before I was leaving on our Zoom. And she said, Susie, just, light a candle, close your eyes before you walk in there, and ask Stephen what he would want you to bring. And as those words came out of her mouth, we saw something that I had never seen, nor had she, and neither of us had enabled AI on our computers or anything, but there was a giant bubble this big with a thumbs up in it, and it floated up off the screen. And we both went, what? And so 5 minutes or so go by,
And we're
and
trying to make it happen again. Like we're
Yeah,
going
we
like
kept
this.
going.
Like we kept going like, is it me? Did I have something on? But no.
yeah, and I Googled it, and I finally found a picture that someone had, but you required enabling AI on a different Mac than I had at the time. Anyway, so we're just wrapping up this session, and I said, okay, Elizabeth, thank you. I'm going to, close my eyes, and I'll just ask Stephen what he wants. The bubble came up again.
Right.
And it never happened before or after.
Never.
Ever again.
Oh my God.
And Stephen was really techie. He was really a techie guy. And it is something that he would have figured out how to do,
Yes.
my nephew.
And of all the times to say, the whole conversation, it never came up except those 2 times. He was saying, you've got this, Aunt Susie.
Yeah. Because
Oh
I said to
God.
Susie at the time, he wants you to go there. He's going to tell you what needs to be done there. And, we don't have to go into details about the things that happened when Susie was there or what she found. But it was very, very clear that Stephen was guiding her. And I mean, I have a cold
he
chill.
Did. Yeah, I have
He
a cold
does.
chill too, but something actually fell off a counter at my feet that I know he was bringing to my attention when I was there.
Yeah,
So it was
absolutely.
very, very, I've never seen that again.
No.
Never.
No.
Wow. What a beautiful sign in a
It was.
horrible time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he
So-
did your art studio, right, Jeff?
I mean, yeah, this was just built, and it was designed by a very dear friend of mine who's an architect. He passed away about a month ago. right before he died, about a month before he died, I was able to bring him in here and show him because the job had to finish without him. And he was so happy. It was such a wonderful experience. And Elizabeth and I think probably Elizabeth first said to me, you know, you are creating art in his work of art, which I thought was beautiful.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's his sanctuary, right? He
Yes.
built this sanctuary for Susie. This is very powerful. She's creating inside of his creation. And of course, that holds his energy and his love and his spirit. I said, he is with you in this studio. You've got to start like lighting candles and like doing the thing. But what was really interesting, and I'll jump in here, Susie and I have been doing sessions for almost 4 years, and she's always in her kitchen because there's no Wi-Fi in the studio. The Wi-Fi was never working properly in the studio. But this day, right after Jeff died, she said she had spontaneously gone into the studio to try it out, and it was working, the Wi-Fi. And I said, Susie, that's Jeff. He wants you in the studio where we're in session. Fern, the freaking internet goes out with those words. She freezes and I freeze. Okay? And all of a sudden
Network is struggling. Network is struggling.
And
It's
all of a
saying
sudden
network is struggling right now.
it is.
It'll go away though. Yeah.
But
It'll capture it.
and then we unfroze and we were like, oh my God, we can't even believe that just happened. It happened again. Twice in a row. And then it never happened again.
Oh
and
my
I said,
God.
it's ridiculous.
Right,
what
because
just
it didn't happen at any other time. You were
No,
like, and when you were
no.
talking
And-
about it again.
Yes, this is
But-
his sanctuary.
Yes.
And boom, it
Yes.
goes.
But
Yes.
the pièce de resistance was that every time we're doing a session, I draw, and then we usually interpret. You know, I'm mindlessly doodling, and I doodled something that doesn't look like anything else I've ever scribbled in the 4 years. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
See this one.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was so architectural, was my first thought.
That's beautiful.
It was-
That could be a card. Yeah.
Oh, well, usually I'm very squiggly and wiggly.
Fluid. She's
But-
much more fluid.
Yeah.
But it looked exactly like Jeff also was an artist. And I realized that this is not my art. This is Jeff always
Yes,
was
coming
very
through you.
linear and
It
structural.
reminds me of
and
did he make those behind you? That's what it's reminding me of.
it's cubicles. I don't know.
Yes.
And he made it very functional.
Yes. Beautiful.
Yes.
And
And-
then you're drawing something that looks just like
Just
that. That
like
was
that.
so him coming through.
I saw him coming
Yes.
through. And this happens. We know art making is a channel. You've heard me say it 100 times. Laura Lynn Jackson says it.
Yes.
When we make art, we're never making art alone. You know, they're making art with us. Byron makes art with me. You know, we're opening something. When we create of any kind of creative process, we're opening a channel. And that really is something for all your listeners to know. You know, whether it's dancing or drawing or cooking, it's really, you know, you and I have talked about this. It's anything that gets you in the flow state.
Yes.
You're, you know, kind of the veil is lifting. It's like when we go to sleep at night and the ego goes back and the veil is thinner between conscious and unconscious. Creativity does exactly the same thing. And so it's for anyone and everyone who wants to tap into that and even bring forward someone that they love, you know, do something creative that they love to do. And, you know, picture and imagine them doing it with you with all of your intention that you can possibly muster up, and you will feel them.
Yes.
This is something I know. So
It's
really-
interesting because there is a connection. Like when I'm in that flow state with a patient, I mean, all of a sudden I'm so focused on the patient and I actually feel things coming through me. It's like I'm not worried about, oh, am I making the right diagnosis? I'm not thinking about what my next question is, but I'm just speaking and something, it's just channeling through me. And
Yes.
it's very similar to when I'm in the flow making art. I can tell when I'm too much in my head. It falls flat. I just recognize the parallel in the flow state.
You really love being a doctor. It's so beautiful and rare.
It's interesting that you picked up on that.
Because I'm so used to people who are not in creative fields hating their jobs. But I love when people love what they do. It's a beautiful
I do
thing.
love what I do, but ironically, I'm retiring in May.
Wow.
For a whole host of reasons, but I don't think my healing days are over.
Yes, right. I
just
feel like this
think
is just the
they're
beginning.
shifting.
Yes, absolutely. This is the beginning of something, yes,
And
new
we
and
have
wonderful.
and seen this coming through in Susie's dreams. I mean, we've watched a whole trajectory of her meeting with healers or having, some kind of big book of healing show up, or a shaman type person, or, tarot cards emerging in her dreams. We've watched this progression.
And Elizabeth really helped walk me through the decision making that it was time to retire by helping me see the messages that were coming through the dreams I was having. She helped me through several major life events in these 4 short years. It's amazing what she does.
It is. It sure is.
I don't know. Have you ever had a dream, Fern, where you can't find the bathroom? It's like a very common thing. Like in bathrooms in the Jungian world, we say that they're where we go to get relief, right? So Susie has had this reoccurring bathroom theme for years, right? Susie,
How
they're
funny.
messy, they're dirty. You can't find them. I mean, it's like I said, it's very common, right? So, but this was kind of the icing on the retirement cake. So like 2 weeks ago, you came and she has this dream and she's in the studio in the dream, and the bathroom is full of plants and flowers and growth. And Susie, share it.
Yeah, I was showing someone this in my yard and this bathroom filled with plants and herbs, and it was just such a different feeling. I mean, it was really spoke to me about how I'm going to have an opportunity to grow in a whole new way.
Right.
Yes.
Because it's not relief anymore. It's growth.
Yes.
And Jeff had just died. It was like in that whole session, that dream was in that whole session where we were saying, oh, he's giving you the internet so we can do this in his space. And we were talking about that dream. And I said to you, Susie, he's built you this beautiful place for relief in your art studio so you can express yourself in his sanctuary. And it was like, this is so clearly
Yeah, it was
what
so
the path is.
amazing.
It was
Yes.
beautiful.
And how symbolic that there have been constant dreams where the bathroom's dirty, the bathroom, you can't find it, the bathroom's terrible. And now you're like, I found a bathroom I want to hang out in, finally.
Right. In her art studio.
Yes,
That's
in your
so-
studio where you're supposed to, where you're going to love
Where
to
is this?
flourish and grow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Elizabeth definitely helped me. Actually, it's probably why I have the mindset that I have now. My brother and I were extremely close. I was the older sister. We held each other through lots of trauma in our childhood. Our lives have always been, we've been very close. So to see him in the state he's in now, he actually is the longest living stage 4 cancer survivor with his kind of cancer. But now it's, you don't want to think to yourself, well, I wish you would pass. But of course, I don't want him to be like this. And Elizabeth took me through this incredible, I guess it was during a meditation, right?
Yeah, it was a
Where-
guided meditation.
Where my father had, being an orthopedic surgeon, he was also a woodworker. And he had built this incredible swing, wooden swing in the backyard, but it's a dual swing with benches. Elizabeth guided me, and well, she didn't tell me where to go, but this is where I ended up. I ended up in his backyard, my brother's backyard, on my father's swing, and my brother was sitting across from me, and Stephen was next to him, his son who passed.
Oh.
And
wow.
but I really felt I could communicate my thoughts to him, and I will sometimes talk to him, either visioning him in that space, or just I can somehow I feel like I can talk to his spirit,
Right.
even though
Yeah,
he
of course.
can't speak.
Right.
I once said to Elizabeth, I kind of look forward to the day that he transitions and we can resume our relationship.
Yes.
As funny as that sounds.
Yeah.
But it is all in the realm of possibility, in through meditation and through rituals, to be in that space. It was so beautiful that you had that with Michael. So beautiful that you had that. I had a vision that was a dream or a vision, I don't know what it was, with my husband. And when I first woke up, I thought, oh my gosh, like, is something gonna happen?
forbid.
But then I realized that's not what it was. It was just God or the divine giving me an image of him, of us together in a very pure spiritual state. And so, this is all possible through dreams and meditation and practice. It's all, it's so powerful and profound and healing. I mean, it's really,
Yes. What was the message that you were getting from your brother and nephew? Or you were just sitting together?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think more than anything that he's present in more than one dimension.
Yes. Yes. I was talking about this on another episode. My friend has a mother who has Alzheimer's, and she's nonverbal now and has been for years. But my friend has the most vivid dreams with her where they are having lucid, beautiful, wonderful, normal conversations. And I tell my friend, that is real. That is really her. That is her soul, and she is talking to you.
yes.
Without
Yes.
question. We exist in many different domains and many different dimensions, and there's essences of us everywhere, and that is absolutely your mother and you having a real conversation. Yes.
So beautiful, Fern.
It's true.
That is
yeah.
beautiful. A dear friend of mine, her brother was a physician also. He accidentally passed in his apartment in Malibu suddenly. And I immediately, when my friend called me, I immediately drove out there. Our other dear friend drove out there. The coroner had just left when we arrived. And we wanted to make sure that his landlord wasn't going to steal anything from him. So I was going through drawers and I found money in his pocket and all this stuff. I was getting stuff from under the closet and I wrenched my back. So I wanted to lay down. So I laid on the side that was made. And my girlfriend, Michelle, was with me. And we talked for a half an hour. And above me, there was a ceiling fan. It's an electric fan. It doesn't, you can't push it with your hand. You have to flip a switch. Partway through the conversation, I'm looking up, and Michelle was the biggest skeptic you'll ever meet. And I look up and I said, "Give me a sign." And that fan, twice. And my girlfriend, who was sitting there, she flipped out at first and she said, "No, Susie, the windows are open. Maybe it was a breeze." I said, "Michelle, this is an electric fan. You can't spin this fan." Anyway, she settled down. She remained in her skeptic place. And we were talking about other stuff. And then I had to use the restroom. So I stood up and I was walking towards the restroom. And I just turned around. I faced the fan and I said, "Okay, give us a sign." It did it again. The two of us lost it.
Yeah, lost it.
Screaming out of the room.
Wild.
Wild. You could
Spirit
not move
listens
that
to you.
fan.
She's good. She's really good, right?
You are really good, Susie.
What am I
Spirit listens to
powerful.
you.
You're powerful. I keep
Oh.
telling you, you're powerful. Spirit, powerful
Truly.
spirit. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Was she a believer after that?
She is now.
Yeah. And if people wanted to admire your art, they can find you on Instagram at Susie White with a Z Mandel.
Susan White's Mandel,
Mandel.
probably.
Okay, it'll be in the show
but that's
notes.
Not,
Okay.
It'll show up.
It'll come
Probably.
up. Okay. And I'll put it in the show notes. And Elizabeth, where can everyone find you and all of your amazing work? And
Awakenings, thank you. Awakeningsdreamwork.com, of course, my website, and Awakenings Dreamwork on TikTok. And, I'm launching a Dreamwork journal that we'll talk about the next time. But I'm
Yes.
very, very excited.
Yes.
To
I'm very
continue.
excited too.
I want to thank you for
Oh, you don't have to thank me.
giving
Thank
me
you.
the
Of course.
chance to tell my stories.
And
Very
really,
incredible.
I'm grateful.
it honors the
It does
relationship
honor me.
that Susie, it honors Susie, and you've really given us an opportunity to honor the relationship between us, which is,
Yes.
really
Yeah.
just so
I
sacred.
think what you're doing is incredible.
And you're so good at what you do.
Thank you. Thank you
yes.
so
You
much.
Yes.
I appreciate
Should I-
it.
Want me to chime
Yes.
us out?
Thank you.
Okay, well, why don't we chime out with a few deep inhales and exhales to kind of help us come back up to the surface. And know that even a tiny bit of breath work is just so grounding and dials back our minds and brings us back into our body, into awareness. And so, Fern, I'm just going to say a huge namaste to you for sharing Susie and for sharing the extraordinary relationship that she and I have in this beautiful, safe, sacred circle podcast. So, from my heart to yours, a big namaste.
And
Namaste.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Signs from the Other Side. You can find me, Fern Ronay, on all social media at Fern Ronay, Ronay. I love hearing from you and I love hearing your stories of signs. And if you would like to hear more episodes of this show, please be sure to subscribe in Apple Podcasts. Thank you again and sweet dreams.